Good day, students. I hope everyone is well and safe. Now, we will proceed to our next discussion, which is about writing a position paper. But for this session, I will just discuss to you lesson 1 and lesson 2. For lesson 1, I will discuss to you position paper, which will focus on purpose and audience. For lesson 2, I will discuss to you features and structure of a position paper. Writing a position paper. In taking a position on an issue, you may find yourself taking a side popularly chosen by many, or sometimes a side chosen by only a few. In writing a position paper, regardless of which side you take, you should be able to express your position effectively. The audience should find themselves agreeing with you and taking your side. Are you ready? Let's get started. Let's start the discussion by knowing position paper, which focused on purpose and audience. Knowing the events and issues happening in the world today may spark different opinions from different people. These issues may also be controversial in nature and would sometimes require beliefs and opinions to be known. One of the ways to share your opinions is by writing a position paper. In this lesson, you will discover the purpose of a position paper and its intended audience. Now, I want you to ponder on this question. Why is the position paper a good way of presenting a writer's stand on an issue? You can write your answer in the comment section down below. Now, let us know what is a position paper. A position paper is a type of academic writing in which the author presents his or her position on a debatable issue and defends or supports it with evidence. The main purpose of a position paper is to persuade readers to take the position of the writer. Take note of the main purpose, okay? It is to persuade readers to take the position of the writer. The position paper presents a unique approach to solve a problem based on what the writer believes in and agrees with. Through a position paper, you can also establish your credibility and passion by presenting your claim based on appropriate and relevant research about the topic. Because the position paper focuses on an issue that needs a stand from the writer, there are certain criteria that you need to identify before writing a position paper. The first one is the issue controversial? The second one is, are there at least two distinct positions? The third one is, are you personally interested in one of these positions? And lastly, can you manage the scope effectively? Now, in order to achieve the purpose of a position paper, it is important for the writer to address all sides of the issue. The audience or writers should see that the writer clearly explains the issue at hand and has compelling evidence to support his or her stand. The audience is a very important consideration to take into account in writing a position paper. The author should thus know the audience of his or her writing. Here are some of the guided questions to consider for audience factors. Number 1 is, who is likely going to read the paper? Number 2, what are the general interests of the audience regarding the issue at hand? Number 3, what is the stand of the majority of the audience on the issue? Number 4, how does the issue affect the audience in general? And number 5, what kind of evidence would convince the audience to take the writer's stand? Position paper can be used in the following. Number 1 is debate. Here in my example, during the presidential debate, former President Trump and President Biden is currently having a debate. Perhaps former President Trump is giving his position on a debatable issue and defends it or supports it with evidence, as well as President Biden is doing that. He persuades the audience to take his position. Position paper can also be used in research. For example, remember the purpose of a position paper is to generate support of an issue. It describes the author's position on an issue and the rationale for the position. And in the same way that a research paper incorporates, supportive evidence is based on facts that provide a solid foundation for the author's argument. Position paper can also be used in editorial article. As you all know, an editorial article tackles recent events and issues, and it also attempts to formulate viewpoints based on objective analysis of happenings and conflicting or contrary opinions. So its position paper is also found in editorial articles. Let us now move on to our next discussion, which is the features and structure of a position paper. Since you are familiar with the purpose and the potential readers of your position paper, you should also be familiarized or you should familiarize yourself with the guidelines on how to construct a position paper. Knowing the features and structure of a position paper will help you have a better grasp on how to effectively persuade your audience to accept your claim. Now, I want you to ponder on this question. Why do we need to write a position paper? You can answer by typing it in our comment section down below. And as we go along to our discussion, you can also find out the answer. A position paper has various features that make it different from other types of writing. Here are some features of a position paper. Number one is it uses formal language. Contractions and slang are avoided. Number two, it defines an issue. Through research, the writer explores the issue and gathers relevant information that can help him or her take a position on it. He or she examines the beginning of the issue and any recent development. Also, he or she looks into different writings by people who made significant contribution to the discussion of the issue. Number three, it states the writer's position explicitly. In a single thesis statement, the writer takes sides of the issue. Number four, it makes claims or assertions that support the writer's position. The claims or assertions are stated plainly and supported by evidences. Number five, it disputes counterclaims. The writer states the weaknesses of those counterclaims, further highlighting the strengths of his or her stand. And lastly, it uses a logical pattern in presenting the arguments. The ideas are arranged in an organized manner that is appropriate to the author's purpose and that is easy and understandable for the readers. For instance, the writer presents his or her claims in increasing importance. The structure of position paper is made up of three parts. The first one is introduction. This contains the background of the topic and the issues to be discussed. In this part, the author usually states his or her position on the issue. The second one is the body. Each paragraph in the body focuses on a particular claim of the author and the supporting evidences. Also, to show readers that all sides of the issue are taken into account, the author discusses the counterclaims. Then, he or she disproves them to strengthen his or her stand. And lastly, the conclusion. This restates the author's position on the issue and the claims. In this part, the author emphasizes the relevance of the issue and urges the readers to take his or her side of the issue. Now, I want you to pause the video and take a look at the example I have here. This is an example of a position paper. I want you to read it. This is the continuation of an example of the position paper. On the first slide, I have shown you. Pause the video right now and continue reading. In the example you just read, the writer expressed his or her insight that students should not have assignments given to them during the weekends. According to the writer, less schoolwork during weekends would give students more time to rest and spend with their family. Take note that in the example, the writer was able to present and use his or her arguments to dispute a counterargument in the paper. It also discussed the issue in a way that the reader could understand it better. I think that's it for our discussion about position paper, which focused on purpose and audience, and also the features and structure of a position paper. I hope you have learned a thing or two. I'll see you all again on Tuesday. God bless everyone and keep safe.